James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, wasn't just a musical powerhouse, he was a firestorm of passion, rhythm, and raw energy. From the moment he stepped on stage, Brown commanded respect. His grooves were infectious, his performances electric, and his influence undeniable. But behind the dazzling smile and rapid footwork, James Brown was a man who held strong opinions, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. Before his death in 2006, the music world knew him as a legend, but few realized that Brown carried a list of mental one of fellow musicians he had serious issues with. Over the years, rumors swirled. Industry insiders whispered about heated rivalries, bruised egos, and backstage blow-ups. But it wasn't until much later in his life, during private interviews and candid conversations, that James Brown finally began to speak openly about the people who crossed him, and what he revealed left fans stunned. James Brown wasn't petty, he was principled. If he had a problem with someone, it usually ran deep. It wasn't about popularity or sales numbers. It was about respect, authenticity, and originality. Brown believed in earning your place. So, when someone disrespected the music, copied without credit, or let fame go to their head, he noticed and he remembered. One name that often came up was Elvis Presley. While the world crowned Elvis the king of rock and roll, Brown had a different take. He didn't hate Elvis as a person, but he hated what Elvis represented: a system that lifted up white artists while often ignoring the black pioneers who laid the foundation. For Brown, it wasn't personal, it was about justice. Elvis got the crown, he reportedly said, but we built the throne. Another musician who rubbed Brown the wrong way was Little Richard. The two shared a long and complicated history. They were both Southern-born, bold, and fiercely competitive. Brown admired Richard's showmanship, but behind the scenes their egos clashed. There were rumors of betrayal, stolen spotlight moments, and heated arguments. Brown once said, "I respected him, but I didn't trust him." Michael Jackson, one of Brown's most famous admirers, also made the list, but not for the reasons you'd expect. Brown saw Michael as immensely talented, but he disliked how the industry molded him. They took the soul out of Michael. Brown once hinted, he started as funk, but they turned him into pop. It wasn't hate, but disappointment, like watching a prodigy drift from his roots. Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones also didn't escape Brown's sharp criticism. Though they toured together early on, Brown never forgave Jagger for allegedly using his performance style without acknowledgement. "He watched me move," Brown claimed, then made it his own. For a man who prided himself on originality, imitation without respect was unforgivable. David Bowie reportedly earned Brown's ire for similar reasons. While Brown acknowledged Bowie's creativity, he felt Bowie often appropriated black culture without giving proper credit. "It's fine to borrow," he said, "but don't pretend you invented it." Surprisingly, Prince made the list too. While Brown admired Prince's talent, he felt the younger artist was trying too hard to out James Brown. Their relationship was tense admiration mixed with ego-fueled rivalry. Brown wasn't impressed by Prince's theatrics. "Too much flash, not enough funk," he once remarked. Sly Stone, despite once being close to Brown, also fell from grace. Sly's descent into drug use and erratic behavior disappointed Brown deeply. "He had the gift," Brown said, "but he wasted it." Others like George Clinton and even Aretha Franklin reportedly made the list not because of personal hatred, but due to deep-rooted musical disagreements and clashing visions. Brown was uncompromising in his expectations. If you didn't respect the rhythm, the roots, or the message, you lost his respect. But here's the twist. Even as Brown named the musicians he had problems with, it wasn't always out of hatred, it was about accountability. James Brown didn't want yes men. He didn't care about pleasing fans or the press. What he cared about was music, culture, and the legacy of soul. In a world full of compromises, Brown stood firm even if it made him unpopular in some circles. As the final years of his life approached, James Brown mellowed slightly. He acknowledged that some rivalries were fueled by the industry's manipulation. "They love to pit us against each other," he once said, "so we don't realize how strong we are together." Still, he never fully forgave. He took grudges seriously, but he took music even more seriously. When James Brown left this world, he left behind more than hits. He left behind a legacy of passion, pride, and pure soul. And as for that list, it wasn't just a roster of enemies, it was a reflection of what he stood for. Respect the roots, honor the rhythm, and never fake the funk.